Okay, R4c, we're still in fractions, we're still adding and subtracting. In this video, I'm going to show you at least one example and a very cool shortcut. So, if you are feeling a little bit weak with prime factorization, please return to the video R2d to take a look at that again. And also, if you're feeling a little weak in finding a least common multiple, please see R2e again. And the reason why we need to do prime factorization is because we need to do factorization in order to find the least common multiple, and the least common multiple is what gives us our least common denominator, and we all know we have to have a common denominator to add or subtract fractions. Okay, let's take a look at the first example, and while you're writing that problem, I'm going to just mention to you what I plan on doing here is while we do this problem, I'm going to point out a very cool shortcut that's going to save you lots of work when the numbers get big like this. Okay, are you ready to go? So, what do we need to do? We need a least common denominator. So over here on the side, we're finding the least common denominator. You know how to do that. Take those denominators and tear them apart, see what they're made of. 24, 3, 20, oops, what here? Times 2 times 5. Okay, so I see here our least common denominator would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, which if you multiply all that out, you get 120. So nothing's new. Okay, but we do know at this point, now that we found this common denominator, all those fractions are going to have to change to get that 120 in the denominator. Okay, and here comes the cool part. You'll notice, see, we've got big numbers, and maybe you can't just look at 24 and know what you multiplied 24 by to get 120. That's where this comes in very, very handy. Okay, so follow me here, okay? So here's 24 torn apart, and here's 120 torn apart. If you'll notice, inside, there's 24 right there, 2 times 2 times 3, so I'm going to put it, let's put it here. There's 2 times 2 times 3, so that's 24, and then the only thing missing is that 5. So what that means is we multiply 24 times 5 to get 120, so we know that's what we do with the numerator as well. So our numerator here is 25. Let's see how good I can erase this here. So now we are looking at 15. Let's go in purple. Here's 15, and here's 120, and I'm going to circle 15. There's 15, so you can see that what's missing between 15 and 120 is that 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So that tells us that 15 times 8 gives us 120. So we know to multiply that top numerator by 8 as well, and we would get 64. Okay, let's clean this up. Oh, we lost our whole thing there. Okay, so now are ready to look at 20, which looks like orange on 20. 2 times 2 times 5, and I'm going to have to kind of, since they're separated, here's 2 times 2, and here's 5. So what I've got highlighted there is just 20. And so you compare the two, you go, what's missing in our LCD is 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So that tells us that, here we go, 20 times 6 gives us 120, and then that tells us we need to multiply that 11 times 6 to get 66. The hard work is done. We are ready to write our answer. Nice thing is, our answer, our denominator, is always going to be the same as our common denominator in the problem. So then we have to add up the numbers in the numerator, and I think we would get 27. And as you remember, when we are adding and subtracting fractions, our last step, once we get an answer, is to determine if that can be simplified. And I am in love with prime factorization, especially since we've already done half the work. So I'm going to factor the numerator and the denominator. 27 would be times 3, and factoring 120, it's already done for us. we've got it over here. So that is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And then the fun part, we start slashing by canceling. Divide by 3, and that looks like that's all we can do. So our final answer would be 9, multiplying across, 2 times 2 times 2 times 10, and the bottom would give us 4. And again, if we've canceled everything over here that we can, we know that that's a final answer. Okay, I think I'm getting a little short on time, so I think I better end this video, and I'll do some more examples in the next one. And remember, we're going to be taking a look at this shortcut. You don't have to make use of this, but you've done so much work getting this information. Why not make use of it? And you're going to end up loving it. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one where we do some more examples and I give you a little bit more on that shortcut.